and I'm gonna share with you how to build a coaching brand and business around this. So now that you have your core 12 topics, I want you to circle. What do you think are the big three? What are the big three out of all of those that you just
Big three.
people like make like the most mistake with, or like you feel like no, these are like the three biggest areas? What do you feel like that is?
The biggest one would be finding a therapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse. Most people don't.
Okay, that's another one.
Setting firm boundaries. Most people don't do that
Yep.
because they don't know how. And then knowing when to spot a narcissist. So spotting abuse.
Bingo, boom. So those right there, those are going to be your three core pillars when you go into the marketplace. Because sometimes, like, you're going to start getting podcast interviews, and you're not going to have time to go through all 12. So you want to use the big three. Everything that you do in the marketplace revolves around those 12. Every interview you do, every video, and it doesn't have to necessarily be how to spot narcissistic abuse, but you can take a slice of that. If you run into, didn't you say it was a certain type? You said it was like what, 12 different? How many types of narcissists are there?
It's so many different kinds. I don't even know. I don't know the
So-
count, but it's a lot of different kinds.
So one of your videos could be this type of narcissist, how to spot this type of narcissist, how to spot that type of narcissist. All of those could be video clips.
Mm-hmm.
If it's finding a therapist, it can be, okay, well, this is how you find a therapist that's in your local city. And you could do like a screen share, or you can walk them through it, right? So everything that you do revolves around those 12. And literally that's literally the game. Like when it comes to like branding, and now it's just about how you put out the content, what it looks like. If you're talking about narcissistic, you could share a video versus you could talk to it through the camera versus you could do a TikTok video acting like you that narcissistic personality. Now it's just about how you do it at this point. But at the end of the day, it's all going to hover around those 12.
Got it.
And that's how we do this business. That's how we do the content and the branding around what we do. Yeah. You got something real powerful. Like you got people curious. That shit that really shows that you have something powerful. And I was watching the Genius documentary, and it was a part where they were talking about he was with Jay-Z, like Kanye was with Jay-Z. But Jay-Z said something powerful. He said, "Closed mouths don't get fed." And the fact that you're speaking up and you're telling people who you are, how you help, you got business just like that. So from a pricing perspective, right? You're helping folks that are going through this. There's really two places you can play: low ticket or high ticket. I always recommend starting off with high ticket. High ticket typically starts off around 2,000. It don't necessarily have to be exactly 2,000, but it usually starts off around that for your program. Your program would be 12 weeks. But I recommend at least 1,500 to, if you're just starting off, anywhere between 1,500 and usually 2,500 is good starting off for like 12 weeks. And and people don't necessarily have to pay it up front, right? You can have them break it down. But what number feels good to you? 1,500, 1,800, or 2,500?
Pretty good.
Okay. All right. So you'll tell them 1,800, and so that's the price of your program. And and people don't have to pay it up front, right? You can say put 1,600 down a month. I mean 600 down a month.
Okay.
Right. So because people don't make decisions based off the total, they make it based off of if they can afford the monthly payments. That's the reason why people buy houses. People. If somebody told you to pay $250,000 for a house, you'd be like, I ain't got that money, and you wouldn't buy the house. So,
Right.
but people buy houses because they look at, okay, can I afford the mortgage each month? And okay, if I can afford the mortgage, okay, cool.
All right.
Makes sense. So it's same thing with a car. People ain't got, they're not gonna, if they don't got it, they're not gonna drop 25 grand for a car. But I can afford $500 a month.
All right.
So that's gonna be the idea behind that. Now, in terms of what you want to include as part of your program. So you're going to be doing 12 weeks of group of coaching. Anything else you want to add part of it? Is there going to be a group element to it? Do you want to do worksheets? Do you want to do a live event? You want to throw a course in there? I'm just giving you some ideas. Literally, there is no box. So what experience and or deliverables do you think would be good to add alongside of the coaching to really help them get the best result?
I can definitely do some speaking engagements.
Now, okay, now this is in reference to your clients.
Okay, well, no. Then, worksheets.
Okay, worksheets. That's nice.
Worksheets. Because I'm mostly here that helps them.
So think about yourself too, right? What would have been powerful if you were coaching yourself and you were part of your own coaching program? What would have been powerful for you to have?
Somebody to help. I did it on my own, so
okay.
Definitely worksheets would have helped me.
Do you feel like sometimes you knew the right things to do, but you didn't do it?
I definitely knew the right things.
So what do you feel like could have helped you been reminded of those things to do that you know you should have done? Or that you should be doing?
Doing something you know better not to do it anyway is just one of them things where, oh boy.
What about a reminder? I'm telling you what comes to mind. You can add this if you want. But I'm thinking about like some type of visual reminder. It can be like some type of like cards. It can be like something like it can be like maybe like a t-shirt that reminds them of like a certain quote. It can be you feel where I'm going, right? I'm thinking of some visual reminder because some of these things like they might know or they say, okay, I know I should be doing it, but you need something that's gonna keep them strong because you ain't gonna be on the call with them 24/7.
Like my I know when we were doing our peer coaching sessions, and I was doing one with one of my classmates. I remember I told him that my brother, when I first moved out to Massachusetts, he was like, "You're the first one of our dad's siblings to leave the state of Ohio." He's like, "You're a trailblazer." So I was doing this session with this one of my peers. He said, "That's great." Now he said, "What you should do is write that down in really big words," and he said, "Put all the things around that mean trailblazer to you." So I have it right here on my nightstand, the word trailblazer.
Nice.
So I look at that sometimes. So if they could put even a vision board,
there you go.
Something with like words, like I know some people write on their walls, or some people write words on their mirrors. So every time they go into a certain room, it reminds them of who they are, what they should think, or whatever. So they can put visuals, visual words up, whether it's like say cars or stickers or whatever it is.
Right there you go. Boom. So maybe you could say it could be a visual board, or you could call it whatever you want to call it, a confidence board or whatever, right? And with that same concept that they put up, that they can always be reminded of the type of person that they want to be or that they need to be, right? Or whatever concept you want them to come up with, right?
Okay.
Image board, vision board, the confidence board, whatever it is.
Image board sounds good.
There you go. Love it. That's dope, right? You see how you're making this quote, and the way that you're doing it, nobody else is gonna have. No, your program is already different than every other one in the world because I can virtually guarantee nobody has those exact 12 topics, and they're not offering what you offer. So you're immediately different from everybody in the world that focuses on trauma. Immediately separate yourself from everybody.
Okay.
Cool. There you go. So we did the curriculum. We did the deliverables of the program, and you got your price.
Yeah.
Boom.
Now I'm starting to see it a little bit differently. Now before I was like, scratch my head, like, where do I start with packages?
Mm-hmm. There you go. It's just, and there you go, and that's it. And now that you got it on paper, once you're done with the playbook and you move on to level number 2, now it's just about building, putting it together. You know what I mean? And all of those things you don't necessarily need to have on hand right now. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, you don't necessarily need to have all of those on hand to get started. But when you meet with somebody, you can say, hey, I'm gonna send you on a store trip. You're gonna go ahead and get a big board. You're gonna get some markers. I want you to grab some magazines. I want you to, you feel what I'm saying? And now you can send them on a field trip. If you got a session coming up with them next week, that's where they're gonna be focused on the vision board part side of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So just some things to think about. But yeah, you good to go. You just created your offer and your package.